Hello everyone, welcome to the first PUC online classes of Gopalswamy PU College, Mysuru. I am Suma, Economics lecturer. In today's session of first PUC online learning, let us learn about the chapter 8, that is index numbers, under the part A, that is statistics for economics. In today's session, let us discuss about the uses of the index number and about the applicability of index numbers. Before everything, let us see what is index number. An index number is one which shows the indication of the changes or variations in a group of variables. So, it is one which indicates the changes and the variations. So, an index number is a statistical device for measuring changes in the magnitude of the group of related variables. So, here the variables are interrelated and this index number measures the change in the magnitude of these interrelated variables, the magnitude or the volume of the change in the variables. So, let us see about the features of the index numbers. The first feature of an index number is that it is expressed in numbers and it is expressed in percentage also. Every index number is expressed in percentages only and it is numerical. The second one is it is expressed on an average. As you all know, an index number measures the change in the magnitude or the volume of the group of related variables. It is compared with the past year's performance or the base year performance. So, here it is expressed on an average because it is compared with the past year details. Third one is it is comparative in nature. As you all know that the statistical data are prepared for the comparison and analysis of the reasons for the variations or the changes. They are highly comparative in nature. Index numbers are considered every year and they are taken into consideration for comparing the changes that take place in the particular area. Next one is universal utility. Index numbers have universal applicability and utility too, because here we apply these index numbers to measure the changes in the areas of exports as well as imports. Index numbers are universally accepted. Now, let us see about the uses of these index numbers. Why are these index numbers constructed? So, why these index numbers are highly helpful in the comparison and analysis of the data is also seen. These index numbers have greater uses. The first one is specialized average. These index numbers are the specialized averages which are measured with respect to the time, because the comparison is made in respect to the past year's or base year's performance with the existing year trends. Here we study them as a specialized average and we express the index number in terms of percentage. The second one is it measures the changes over a period of time. For example, we can check the increase in the rate of petrol over a period of time. Some 10 years ago, what was the price of the petrol per litre and today what is the price per litre of petrol is compared and then we'll analyze the causes for it. So, when we analyze the causes, we come to know that there is a greater shortage in the supply as well as there is a greater increase in the demand for petrol, and it is even helpful to know about the availability of the resources. Can we replenish it or can anything to be done for the improvement of the availability of these resources will also be checked in. Therefore, it measures the changes over a period of time. Third one is index number play the role of economic barometer. So, it is the measuring rod or measuring scale which says about the variations in the economical trends of any particular group of variables. Fourth one is it compares economic variables at two different periods. Index numbers are calculated based on the data of the base period and also the trends of the existing period or the current year. So here it compares the economic variables of both the two different periods, that is the base period as well as the current period, and it helps in forecasting. When once we compare the base period performance with the existing or current year's performance, it helps us in the forecasting of future trends. So what may be the result of this price hike, or what may be the result of this shortage of supply or increase in the demand. So these index number help us in formulating the future policies, and the government's budgets are highly dependent on the index numbers while preparing their budgets on different variables. The sixth one is these index numbers are simple and very easy to understand. Any layman can easily understand the index number by just observing the calculation based on the base year's performance compared with the current year's performance. So these index numbers are having the universal applicability as they are very easy and simple to understand. So now let us see about the important things that should be kept in our mind while preparing the index numbers. Let us see about the points to be kept in our mind while preparing the index numbers. The first one is purpose of the index number. So first we should select the purpose of the index number. For what purpose we are now preparing the index numbers, or we are calculating the index numbers. So what purpose it is going to serve after the calculation of these index numbers. Then the choice of the items, which are the things that are to be included in the calculation of index numbers. The third one is choice of the base period. This is a very important point that should be kept in our mind while preparing the index number, because there are lots of different years which supply us different types of information related to a particular group of variables. So we have to select the base period, and the choice of base period is an important point that should be considered here. Fourth one is choice of the reliable data. There are different types of data available. You all know there are the data like primary source of data and secondary sources of data. So which one is reliable, whether the primary source of data is reliable or the secondary source of data is reliable, that we should check first. So choice of the reliable data is again important, and then the choice of the type of the index number, because there are different types of index numbers. Which one suits to this particular calculation or particular measurement of the change in this particular group of variables. The choice of the type of index number is again a very important point that should be kept in our mind while preparing the index number. The next one is limitations. So what are the limitations here? The chances of errors are most likely to be seen here in the preparation or in the calculation of index number. So the chances of errors are there. There is every chance for the errors, as well as sometimes there will be emissions and omissions also. Some important related data may be emitted or may be omitted also. The next one is no universally acceptable formula. The index numbers are not calculated by using the universally acceptable formula. It varies. So therefore, the universally acceptable formulas are not seen in the calculation of these index numbers, and it is a biggest limitation. The next one is scope for manipulation. At every stage of calculating the index numbers, there is a chance of scope for manipulation of the data and the values. So this manipulation of the data and values will mislead the result, and we may have a wrong result or wrong decision. So this leads to the wrong judgment on the analysis of the data, and again this is a major limitation. Now let's see about the types of index numbers. So there are importantly two types of index numbers. The first one is price index number, and the second one is quantity index number. There is one more type of index number, but it is rarely used, that is the value based index number. So here in that we consider the quality. But here the major two types of index numbers are these only, and they are the price index numbers and the quantity index numbers. Price index numbers are those which check the variation in the price over a period of time and when comparing it with the base period and the current period. And here the price index numbers check the increase, whether there is an increase in the price or any decrease in the price. In the quantity index numbers, we check or we measure the changes in the quantities, whether the quantity demanded is high or less, or whether the quantity supplied is more or less. So, the variations in the quantity is calculated through quantity index number, and the variation in the price is calculated through price index numbers. So now let us see about the methods of the construction of index numbers. These are the methods for the construction of index numbers. It is divided into two. The first one is simple or unweighted method. The second one is weighted method. So again this simple or unweighted method is subdivided into two. The first one is simple aggregate method and the second one is simple average price relative method. So the formula to calculate the index number through this simple aggregate method is price index equals sigma P1 divided by sigma P0 into 100. And here in the case of simple average price relative method, there are different weighted average methods that are used to calculate like Laspeyres-Paches. But here commonly we consider the sigma weight of the P1, that is the price of the current year, divided by the P0, that is the base years, multiplied by 100 divided by sigma weight, that is the total weights of the variations. Now let us see about the weighted method. The weighted methods are different types. Different types of statisticians have given their own formulas and they are like this. The first one is Laspeyres method, second one is Paches method, third one is Marshall-Edgeworth's method, fourth one is Derbyshire-Bowley method, and the fifth one is Fisher's ideal method. The sixth one who gave the weighted method index number is Kelly's price method, and the seventh one is Walsh price method. So these are the two methods used in the construction of index numbers. The first one is the unweighted method and the second one is the weighted method. Let us see about the important index numbers of economics. The first important index number of economics is consumer price index. It is also known as cost of living index. So this consumer price index is helpful in wage negotiations because the wage rates are different and they differ from part to part. So they differ from one area to another area. The consumer price index is helpful in knowing about the negotiation rates of the wages given to different sectors of the wage groups. Next is wholesale price index. Wholesale price index measures the rate of inflation. The third one is industrial production index. It measures the changes in the production in the industrial sector. The fourth one is Sensex. This is known as sensitivity index. It is a useful guide for investors in the stock market. So daily people will be in observing the variations in the stock market, and based on this Sensex they decide on their investments. The next one is agricultural production index. This measures the performance of the agricultural sector. So very importantly in economics we consider these 5 index numbers, that is the consumer price index or the cost of living index. The second one is wholesale price index, third one is industrial production index, fourth one is sensitivity index, and the fifth one is agricultural production index. I wish to end up today's session with a thought for the day. Today's thought is calmness is the superpower of a human. It is the ability to not to overreact or not to take the things personally, because ultimately we need a peaceful heart and a calm mind. It helps us to overcome all the challenges and the adversities. We should practice calmness, and silence is the best weapon to encounter all types of situations. When in the situation of the adversities and prosperities, in both the situations of adversity and prosperity, if we practice the calmness, then it will help us to stay balanced. So a balanced mind is a very important asset of a human. So with this, I conclude today's session. Thank you.